to Action Coaching. I'm certainly blessed that you've joined us on today because God has a special coaching word for you. Let me start off by saying to those of you that have enjoyed Action Coaching and you've been a part of our Action Coaching audience, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit subscribe. Facebook, hit like. And then I want you to encourage others to join us for these exciting times of Action Coaching. It is the goal of Action Coaching to help you understand that there's great potential in your life. And everybody needs a coach to make it. Nobody makes it on their own. God has set up a system that those that have went the path before us will reach back and tell those of us that were coming down the path different tools and advantages that we can prosper from and even have even greater success. So certainly I want you to share with others about Action Coaching, and we're doing great things here, and we're going to get bigger and better and be able to expand so many exciting things for you because coaching is at my heart. I want to see every one of you do great and awesome things. I'm not jealous. I'm not trying to hold anybody back. I believe there's room at the top for all of us. And certainly I want to see everyone use the Word of God, use the principles of the Scripture, and you can live your best life. Now, on this week, I'm going to be talking about action success. Just basically giving you some principles that you can apply to your life and you can have success in your life. But now understand, success is not just going to happen. It's going to take some serious action from the person that is successful. We live in an environment, and nowadays the people think that they can just snap their fingers and success is going to happen. It's not like that. Success is hard. Success is difficult. But then on the other side of the hard and difficult, success is rewarding because you made it through the hard and the difficulty. So I'm just going to talk to you about some principles that I've learned concerning action success. And I believe that you could just take some of these tips and begin to apply them to your life. And whatever your God-given ability and endeavor in life is something you will achieve. And I am so grateful about it. So let's start talking about action success. Now, the first thing I want everyone to know that the fact that we were born into this world, there, along with our birth, came thousands, and I'd say millions of opportunities that we can pursue in life. God has given every one of us gifts and talents and abilities that we can do some great things. And that every one of us, all of the time, you don't have to look to copying somebody else or being envious of somebody else. Just use what's within. Use that and watch God do some great things in your life. So let's begin to talk about these principles even more. And the first thing I want you to understand that everything that's going to take care of you in life, you were born with it. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, I'm struggling right now. I don't see how that can make any sense. If I'm born with it, why won't it work? Well, the bottom line is it won't work because you won't work what's in you, your own gifts and talent. You're too busy trying to copy somebody else's gift, and that's not your gift, rather than knowing that what you got can work too. So all of us, God have placed some amazing things in all of us but we've got to use that gift and talent. We've got to pursue the amazing ability that God have given us. So you got to understand that. You got to understand that. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is, though you are born with those amazing gifts and amazing talents, you're born into a world that is, the world's desire is to place you in a comfort zone. Why do we call it a comfort zone? Because most of the time, when you are comfortable with something, it hinders your ability to venture out into the unknown. See, exploring your gifts and talents, that's like the undiscovered country. And the only way you will know what you can do is you got to come out of your comfort zone in which the world is trying to shape you in. What do I mean by that? Sometimes, to my advantage or yours, you can be born in different circumstances. And sometimes the circumstances that you were born in could shape your ability to leap beyond what you kind of grown up in. Now, like I was growing up in a situation, it wasn't money, or I ain't living in no mansion, everything that we learned to do, it was pretty much taught to us by our parents. Now, the advantage I did have was, I'm just talking about me, I had great parents. My father, whom he didn't have much, but he used his gift and abilities, and eventually he went to Morehouse College here in Atlanta. Matter of fact, 2 years ago, he held all of scoring records in basketball, and he did some awesome things. And those same principles that he learned, he was able to come back to me, my brothers and sisters, and I, and instill that same principle. And my mother was extremely driven. Now, whatever my mama set her mind on, you might as well just throw up your hand, because she is going to accomplish. So some of those things were instilled in us and gave us the desire to fight for so much more, to understand that though my parents did not have it, we can achieve so much more. And there are a lot of you out there, the world have put you in a comfort zone because you think, because you don't speak as well, or you don't look as good as anybody else, or maybe you don't even have the gifts and talents of somebody else, so you just decide to stay right in your little circle, and you are afraid to venture out for fear of what others gonna say if you decide to explore something different. But I'm here to let you know, we coming out of the comfort zone. Probably the person that named it a comfort zone, because he or she or whoever named it was in a situation where people are most comfortable when they don't have to do much work. They don't have to put things on the line. They don't have to venture out. They're just sitting there saying, I'm comfortable right here. And there's so many amazing opportunities in front of them. So the first thing is, we got to venture out of the comfort zone. That's where faith comes in. You got to step out. Years ago, I had a great swimming instructor, and when we were he was trying to teach us how to swim. And of course, thank God for the boys club, so he was trying to teach 50, 60 young men at the same time about swimming. Now, here was the amazing thing about why a lot of us couldn't learn to swim right away. We was all right with being instructed on how to swim. And we would practice those drills. Man, when he tell us, okay, when you get in the water, then you're gonna use your arms and your legs, and then you're gonna do this particular drill, and you'll be able to swim. Then, you will go under the water, you can swim faster, but you lift your head up and breathe some air and go back under, and all of that was exciting. And he instructed us, he taught us. He was excellent at swimming. Now, after all of that teaching, you know where the problem was? Getting in the water. Then we done had all the teaching. And we even had him as a lifeguard in case one of us went under in our attempt to swim. But it was something about getting in the water. Have you ever dealt with people that are full of a lot of information, a lot of critiquing what you do, but yet they won't get in the water? I used to have an expression, I don't say it anymore, but at that particular time, I had an expression, and I always would tell my sons about that is, it is easy to criticize somebody when you sitting in the stands. I call it the cheap seats. But when you sit on the sideline, it's easy to criticize somebody that's in the game. And it don't take much to do that. Now, I don't want you to go anywhere. I'll be right back to talk to you. Sitting on my bed, watching a preacher preach on a television screen. And I said to myself, Lord, I can do better than him. Welcome back. We're talking about action success. And I left off talking about how it is very easy for people to criticize the man or the woman that's in the arena. And I know you ran into people when you trying things and going through things, and they steadily standing by say, I wouldn't have tried that. And I don't know what made you do that. And you wouldn't be so messed up if you tried that. And they ain't trying anything. You know, it's easy to comment on the battle when you are not in the battle. That's why I like to talk to people who've been in the battle. Those are the people that I love to give me good advice or even critique what I'm doing. Sorry about that. Critique what I am doing. Those are the kind of people that I love to have around me. I don't want nobody always patting me on the back and saying it's all right if you don't make it, or, maybe it's not in you to do it. No, I don't want those kind of people around me. I want the people that say you got the gifts and the talents and the ability, and you need to do all that it takes so that you can get out of the comfort zone and move further in life. Now, I know my time is wrapping up. We don't do action coaching long because the desire of action coaching is to just give you some tips that you can use and you can run with and better improve your life and be the person that you were created to be. So let's talk about some tips to help you have action success. All right. Now, number one, you want to understand there's a difference in self-discipline and self-esteem. Now, a lot of people and even some people use the word, I suffer from low self-esteem. Well, who told you it was low self-esteem? But basically, self-esteem is, I want to feel good. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel secure about myself, and I don't want to be afraid that when I venture out, that if people look at me crazy, I get all nervous and I just can't do it, and so on and so on. But then that's searching for self-esteem. But I found out the key thing to solving the self-esteem problem is to get self-discipline. I learned that if I was going to be successful, I had to have some self-discipline. I had to have discipline in such a way that it kept me focused. And when you have self-discipline, I realized certain people I could not run around with, not so much that they were bad people, but they didn't have the same discipline that I had for the dream and the vision that I saw. And the more discipline you have about yourself, the more you feel good about yourself. I cannot tell you the first time that I had to do a sermon. I was in such bad shape, I know I messed up that sermon. And then there were people that tell me I messed up. And then as I began to grow, there were consistent people that were always telling me, well, you can't preach, you don't have the right message, or you don't preach like so-and-so down the street. I cannot begin to tell you good people that told me all the things I couldn't do. But in the midst of that, I understood that if I get disciplined to be the best at what I can do some great things. And so when I began to work on my self-discipline, things like I tell young kids, teenagers, young adults, there's some principles that do not change on this rule called success, like being on time, doing excellent work, being prepared for when your time comes. Study, practice, put in time. All of these things take discipline, because who you are in private is show who you gonna be in public. If you ain't got no discipline in private, you ain't gonna have none in public. So self-discipline is important. The second thing is, have a plan or a vision for your own life. Have your own dream. Not necessarily somebody else's dream. Have your own dream. Have a goal. That's what I call a dream or a vision. Have a goal. And understand, when you got a vision or a dream or a goal, then it is necessary for you to begin to plan for that dream and that goal. Because what you do in the present is definitely going to shape who you are in the future. When I got a vision of what I felt I could be, I became obsessed with the picture I saw of me and what I could be. Now I understand, and I want to encourage you, when you got a goal, you got a dream, then you need to understand, you cannot get caught up in the hindrance and things that come along the road you're going to travel toward your dreams. A lot of those things come because it is making you into the individual that's going to be capable to live out that dream. So yes, everything I've strived to achieve, had there been hard problems? Yes. Have there been days I woke up and said, I don't think I want to do this anymore? It's been days like that too. Have there been days when everybody that I thought was going with me, all of a sudden we reach a turn in the road and they said, we're going to go this way, you on your own. Been times. Have it been a shortage of money, a shortage of various things, intense criticism, but I could not get bogged down there. I had to stay focused on the vision I had for my life, the plan that I had for my life. And then the third thing I want to say to you today is, don't stop. Make it up in your mind, I will not quit till I reach the goal. Not too long ago, they had the Olympics. And it was amazing how many thousands of athletes all over the world were participating in the Olympic Games. Now, I am quite sure if you ask any of those thousands or perhaps millions of athletes that were participating in the Olympic Games, are you just glad to be here? And I'm quite sure the answer you would get is every one of them would tell you, I am here to win the gold. That's the reason I train so hard, persevere. I'm here to win the gold. And the focus in my mind is nothing gonna stop me from reaching my goal. Let nothing stop you from reaching your goal. I started out in the ministry and had no money. There was nobody to help me. Matter of fact, I didn't even know if I had the skills. But I had a goal. And no matter what, I was not going to stop till I reached my goal. Now, whatever I had to go through, I wasn't about to quit for the going through or the trials and the tribulation, because just like the Olympic athletes, I'm here for the goal. And I'm here to make my goal come to pass. And that's the thing you have to do in your life. Now, I trust that you've enjoyed some of these tips on today about action success, and you can do it if you just practice some of these principles. Now, I don't want you to go anywhere. I'll be right back to talk to you. Welcome back. Certainly, I've enjoyed sharing with you today on action coaching about action success. I know it's possible for you, and I trust that some of the things that God has given me to share with you, you can begin to apply it to your life, because I want you to be successful. I want you to achieve those dreams that you have because the gifts and talents are placed inside of you, and I want to see you get there. And I trust God that some of this you'll use, and let's go for the goal. Now, I certainly want to encourage all of you that enjoy action coaching to sit down and sow a generous seed faith offering for the support of action coaching. Many of you can sow 100, you can sow 1,000, you can sow 500, some can sow 10, 5, whatever it is. Sow it into action coaching so that we can continue to grow bigger and better and help so many people with action coaching. I certainly want to encourage you to do that to help us continue to move forward through your financial support. Now, there's a link in my bio that will give you a host of ways to give unto action coaching. And we believe here that whatever you sow into promoting God's word and kingdom, God is going to sow so much more in your life. And so certainly I want to encourage you to go to that link, sow that seed on today. Let God speak to your heart and let me know. Bishop, I'm right with you on this action coaching, and I want you to keep on going. And I want you to know I'm going to continue to pray and thank God for what you do toward this vision and goal. Now, once again, you can go to the link in my bio and you can sow that seed. It'll give you a host of ways to sow into the ministry. And we thank you so much. Before I close on today, I want to thank all of the members of Word in Action and the visitors and friends that came out. We had an awesome time during our Easter service. Truly, God moved by a tremendous way. People were healed, delivered, and set free. We talked about understanding the purpose of sacrifice. And truly, it was a great message that God gave me to share. But I am most grateful for the members of this great church, partners and friends. They were there to celebrate with us, and we had an awesome time. And I want to thank you for that. And I also want you to remember we got many exciting things that's going to take place in the coming weeks and coming months. So you want to stay tuned because it's going to be a blessing to you and it's going to be awesome. And we thank God for the dreams and his trust in allowing us to do these great things. Well, the Lord bless you. I've certainly enjoyed sharing with you. And as I do each and every week, I want you to share the word with a friend and keep the word in action.